Eerily quiet scenes from China's airports are spreading like wildfire across social media, sparking deep concerns about the current state of the country's economy. From bustling international hubs like Daxing in Beijing and Pudong in Shanghai, to smaller domestic airports, they all share the same desolate, empty landscape. Areas that were once packed with travelers now have only a few scattered people, and the shops and restaurants are shuttered in silence, evoking an indescribable sense of unease. August 27th, a blogger named Ba Artier posted a video on Xiaohong Shu, describing her shock at seeing the Zhengzhou airport completely deserted. Wondered, are people even traveling abroad anymore? Where has everyone gone? Later that evening, on a flight from Zhengzhou to Kuala Lumpur, she realized she was one of very few passengers. At Zhengzhou Airport, once a bustling hub, only a single McDonald's and a water vending machine were still in operation, a truly unbelievable sight for such a major airport. July 12, 2025, at the international security checkpoint of Daxing Airport, people witnessed a similar scene. The entire international departure hall was empty. Some passengers even asked, how can a huge airport like this have no one in it? Even the information desk is empty. The flow of passengers in and out of China has dropped off a cliff. The decline in flights and commercial activity has forced many shops to close their doors. One woman was even stunned to find she was the only passenger on her entire flight, and the airport staff and flight attendants jokingly called it her private flight. Right now, many flights are operating with alarmingly low passenger loads, making flight attendants feel like they're just burning fuel for nothing. In recent years, China's economy has continued its downward trend. With the US-China trade war, a nationwide drop in consumer spending has become the new normal. People are tightening their belts, especially when it comes to travel and transportation. Besides facing stiff competition from the high-speed rail network, China's aviation industry has also been hit by geopolitical tensions. In recent years, many countries and airlines have suspended or indefinitely canceled flights between their countries and China, triggering a wave of flight suspensions. By December 2024, more than 30 foreign airlines had suspended their flights to China. The closure of these international routes has led to the desolate scenes at international airports across the country. This not only reflects the direct impact of China's economic downturn but also highlights the disruption of international business and tourism. Although the Chinese government has implemented unilateral visa-free policies, it still hasn't been enough to reverse this trend. As of now, China has granted unilateral visa-free entry to citizens of 38 countries, including France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, and other European nations, as well as key economic powers like Japan, South Korea, Australia, and Brazil. Can you believe it? Airports in China that were once jam-packed are now so empty. You can barely spot a passenger. It's like a ghost town right inside an international airport. What's going on? Is this a sign of a tourism crisis? People running out of money to travel, or is there some other secret reason behind it all? Do you think this quiet is just temporary, or is it a warning of a more worrying future? International financial hubs like New York and London are typically also international aviation hubs. A country's political and economic centers are usually the epicenters of its air travel network, and the growth of an aviation hub is often a key indicator of a city's competitiveness. However, in terms of financial market openness, the internationalization of the legal environment, and the ease of doing business, China's cities still lag behind places like London, New York, and Singapore. While China is busy rolling out unilateral visa-free policies and trying to attract foreign tourists, the global business elites, investment tycoons, and multinational executives have already voted with their feet. Industry insiders have revealed that flights to China are often operating with a seat occupancy rate of less than 50%. In such cases, airlines are not just failing to make a profit, they're struggling to cover their basic costs. Operating a large passenger jet is incredibly expensive. With high costs for fuel, crew, salaries, and airport fees, airlines take a loss on every flight with low passenger numbers. Since the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, many European flights have been forced to bypass Russian airspace, leading to longer flight times and increased costs. Fuel consumption on Europe-Asia routes has risen, and fuel consumption for North America-Asia flights has increased by 9.8%. One aviation expert pointed out that these detours can add 2 to 3 hours to a flight. This not only increases fuel consumption but can also impact flight connections over time. Many routes have become economically unviable. Additionally, some foreign airlines have accused the Chinese government of providing unfair subsidies to its aviation industry, giving Chinese carriers a competitive advantage. They have called for trade protectionist measures against Chinese airlines. In April 2024, major U.S. airlines and aviation unions sent a letter to the U.S. government, calling for a halt to the approval of new flights from Chinese carriers, citing Beijing's anti-competitive policies and the disadvantage for U.S. planes, which cannot fly over Russia. If the growth of China's aviation market is allowed to continue unchecked, flights will continue to be ceded to Chinese airlines. Therefore, the withdrawal of foreign airlines is not a coincidence, but the result of a combination of economic, political, and market factors. As foreign airlines exit the Chinese market, the void in the air travel landscape is quickly being filled by Chinese carriers. Although Chinese airlines are constantly expanding their international routes, their profitability has been far from promising. As of the evening of August 29, 2025, China's three major state-owned airlines, Air China, China Eastern Airlines, and China Southern Airlines, had released their financial reports for the first half of 2025. The data showed that these three companies had a combined loss of over 4.7 billion yuan in the first half of the year. Air China reported a net loss of 1.8 billion yuan attributable to shareholders of the listed company. China Eastern Airlines reported a net loss of 1.44 billion yuan. China Southern Airlines also lost 1.5 billion yuan. The data shows that the three major airlines have been losing money for years. Compared to the same period last year, Air China had reduced its losses by 35%. Furthermore, the entire civil aviation industry found itself in a dilemma in the first half of the year, experiencing high passenger numbers but low profits. According to data from Flight Stewart, the average economy class ticket price for domestic flights in the first half of the year was 749 yuan, about $105, a 6.9% decrease from last year and 7.8% lower than the same period in 2019. The civil aviation market is showing signs of increasing volume by slashing prices, essentially trading volume for price. While Chinese airlines have filled the void left by foreign carriers, they have yet to turn a profit. Experts believe the economic downturn has led to a decline in consumer willingness to spend. Although travel demand has recovered, consumers are more price-sensitive and tend to choose cheaper travel options and fares. This has intensified the price war in the aviation market. For Chinese airlines, the priority has shifted to survival. Airlines are no longer focused on passenger comfort. Some Chinese airlines have cut operating costs by canceling meals, restricting free baggage, and cutting back on traditional services. However, complaints about Spring Airlines are a common sight on major social media platforms. Passengers have expressed frustration with non-reclining seats on long-haul flights, strict baggage rules that lead to extra fees, and persistent sales pitches from flight attendants. Spring Airlines' cost-cutting strategy has eroded customer trust. To cut costs even further, some airlines have started to follow Spring Airlines. According to a report from the WeChat account Phoenix Weekly, China Southern Airlines recently introduced hard-backed seats on its aircraft. These new seats, known as lightweight seats or blade seats, have replaced the previous thicker reclining seats. The most uncomfortable part for passengers is that the headrest has been significantly simplified. Passengers have generally complained that the new backrest is too hard, the new seat cushion is too firm, the seat pitch is too narrow, and after sitting for a long time, their backs are stiff and their legs are cramping. Although China Southern has lowered its ticket prices, many passengers are still unwilling to buy, with some even calling it Southern Budget Airlines. This situation has become a microcosm of how airlines are cutting costs in various ways. In the short term, a price war with low fares might help airlines gain market share. But no matter how many new routes are added or how many new destinations are opened, if revenue doesn't keep up, the future competition will be even more brutal. To survive, many Chinese airlines have adopted a hybrid model of carrying both passengers and cargo, using cargo hold space to transport light goods while squeezing passengers' luggage space. Some airlines have even started securing cargo directly onto passenger seats, flying right alongside the passengers. This has left passengers feeling like they are merely passive companions, with the cargo being the real priority. In May 2025, a female passenger shared her experience with the media, explaining that when she boarded a flight, she was surprised to find that there was no one next to me, just bags and cargo fastened with seatbelts. Just like people, the bags seemed to be tired, swaying back and forth. The flight attendants came by to rearrange them. As flight attendants' incomes have fallen, support services are also being cut. The same female passenger complained, saying, "The flight attendants told us that no drinks would be served today because the trolley was needed to carry ice bags. I thought I had booked a full-service flight but only found out before takeoff that I had to scan a code to get water." The flight attendant was busier than I was, taking care of passengers and also managing the cold chain. One male passenger initially didn't complain, thinking that airlines are all having a tough time these days, so he shouldn't be too picky. But after a delayed flight, the flight attendants announced that the reason for the delay was that the cargo refrigeration system needed temporary maintenance. That's when he realized he might have been delayed for a batch of strawberries. For many Chinese airlines, this is a lifeline, a breakthrough in their transformation, and a gray area they are forced to enter. All passengers can do is adapt. It's like being squeezed next to a basket of vegetables on a bus or standing with a delivery box on the subway, except this time it's in the sky. As a result, we're seeing that services on regional flights are increasingly being stripped away. Seats can no longer recline. In-flight meals are becoming scarce, and even the announcements are sometimes for the wrong destination, because the focus no longer seems to be on the passenger experience, but on the efficiency of cargo transport. However, as the passenger experience continues to deteriorate, airlines lose the trust of their customers.